Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
stop chatting about my father-in-law.
It doesn't go in with that. Usually it doesn't go in the first attempt. So
Patrick,
Yes.
quorum is
it's
6.
5.
Okay, we're good then.
We're at 5. Yeah.
We've got actually 1 minute. Let's wait.
Kathleen indicated she would be calling in. Oh, and that's, I see the phone.
I'm calling in.
Hi, Kathleen.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay.
Hi.
And
So
did we
we're-
hear from Mark?
Mark is here now too.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So what do you have?
Okay, we're
I do.
okay. Let's be official, and I'll wait until I see the 5, that last 5 on my clock, and
Okay.
then we'll start.
Yeah, it's 5:15 on one of my clocks, but not.
Oh,
on
then let's go. Okay. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the University City Library Board. Cindy, could you please
Yes.
call the roll?
Certainly. Mark Barnes,
Here.
Kim Dietzler. Are you muted?
Yes.
Here.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Here.
Joan Greco-Cohen,
I made it.
Latrice Johnson,
I didn't hear back from Latrice.
Gerald Lander,
Here.
Helen Nelling,
Here.
Kathleen Simpson,
Here.
and Cindy Zerwas here.
And from the library?
Patrick Wall, Carrie Bruce, the assistant director, and Cindy Dykeman, office manager. And I did hear back from Latrice, and she is out of town right now, but she said she will try.
Because this is a special meeting, we are going to skip, or not skip, we are going to delay public comment, minutes, correspondence, council liaison, and librarians report, and the consent agenda, and move directly to action items.
And I would just say as a point of information that we were not delaying any public comment. We just didn't receive it.
Okay. The first action item is to approve a proposed change order that is in your packet, PCO 5 CF 24 revision 6. The Finance Committee met, and Aaron, do you have a report from the Finance Committee on this change order?
The Finance Committee recommends approving this change order. We like having stable walls, so yes.
Aaron, is this the change order that it's about $77,000, and
Yes.
as long as it meets the prevailing wages, then we're going to recommend that they approve it?
We don't do
this
prevailing
one?
wage on change orders. That's only on invoices.
So what, okay, so wasn't that the Ranieri change on 24/6?
This one, yeah, this one, it's on page 13 of the packet. It's $77,691.88. That's for work that is, some of it's ongoing, but they just want the approval for that change from the original plan based on
Okay.
Bond's revision to the plan, based on circumstances that came up, like the
Okay.
walls not being
I
stable.
didn't put a dividing line on my notes between the prevailing wages. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So
and-
I'll make a motion. I will go ahead and make a motion that we accept that Ranieri change order.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. A motion has been made and seconded that we accept the Ranieri change order in the amount of $77,691.88. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, let's call for the vote. Cindy?
Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Kim Dietzler,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco-Cohen,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
And Cindy Zerwas, aye.
Okay, the motion is carried and Patrick can sign off on that change order. The next action item is a different change order concerning the infilling for the terrazzo flooring. And I think this is very interesting because the assumption when the plans were done was that there was 2 inches of mortar and then 2 inches of concrete under the mortar. And it turns out there is just 4 inches of mortar. And they cannot put in a stable terrazzo floor
Yeah,
without this change order. Patrick?
so they've got to remove an additional 2 inches of of mortar and then infill that.
Right, so.
It still seems a little expensive, but this is where we are.
Right. But it's one of those things you wouldn't have known about until you ripped into it.
Yeah.
Sort of like
Exactly.
the insides of walls.
And Aaron, did the finance committee discuss this?
Yes, we did. And we are so grateful that our preliminary budget had a 15% contingency built in for surprises like this and the unstable walls. So we have the resources to make this high traffic area beautiful with the terrazzo floors rather than an
Cheap.
option that would not be as look as good or be as permanent. So we
Yeah,
did.
one of the things, one of the things that we discussed in the meeting was that we could put a less expensive floor in, and then we would turn around in a year or whatever and end up replacing it. And we all knew going into this that there was going to be items that were unplanned, as Cindy said. And we didn't, I mean, construction is what it is today. I don't think I want to do it on the cheap and then have to replace it in a year. I agree with Aaron. I would recommend that we accept this. It just is what it is.
As Patrick mentioned, the terrazzo floor will probably outlast the building. So it's a good investment. May I have a motion?
Is this for $23,785?
And
Okay,
that's
thank you.
down a little
Yep.
bit from the original change order.
Yeah.
Yeah, bond did get it down from the original 32,000 and something, so.
Can I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we approve this change order for the terrazzo floors. And I forgot to write the number down, 23,000
$785.13.
for that.
I'll
for-
second that.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the change order CF4RFI21 in the amount of $23,785.13. Is there any additional discussion?
Nope.
Okay, Cindy, could you call the roll, please?
Mark Barnes.
Aye.
Kim Dietzler,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
The motion carried and Patrick may sign that change order.
Yeah, and I apologize. I just realized I should have brought those up on the screen.
It's
We
all right.
have it in our packets.
Yeah, you sent it out in our packet, so we did
Yeah.
have a chance to review it before the meeting.
You know, I would like to say one thing. I think that our board has been careful about thinking about things like the terrazzo floor, but it's kind of amusing to me that nobody thought about baseboards.
Well, we didn't,
Because
we
finished
didn't know,
buildings,
we didn't know that the baseboards were bad until they took them out and found some were could not be reused.
Usable, and they were a nice oak, and there were enough of them that were like water damaged or just damaged that Didn't seem that, and it seemed too expensive to try and match the oak. This seemed to be cheaper than trying to get new oak in a lot of places. But
This
either
is-
way, we would have been paying for, oak or for this.
I get it.
The next action item is a request for payment from Ranieri. The Ranieri invoice has been reviewed by bond and approved. However, Patrick has not yet been able to verify that prevailing wage standards were met.
This was the prevailing rate.
So
Okay.
if there is a motion to approve this, it should be contingent on the prevailing wage. And Aaron, the Finance Committee also discussed this, did they not?
Yes, and we recommend paying this with the caveat that as long as it meets the prevailing wage, we make this payment to Ranieri. So yes, recommended by the architect and by the Finance Committee.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it and this is the one where I got my notes mixed up. So we'll approve this as long as it meets the prevailing wage requirements
Yes.
on this invoice, right? Okay,
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
I'd like to second it.
A motion has been made and seconded to pay the invoice from Ranieri, subject to verification of prevailing wage requirements. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, Cindy.
Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Kim Diesler,
Aye.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
The motion carries. So the
Yeah,
the invoice from Ranieri for $188,970.54 will be paid as long as Patrick verifies it meets the prevailing wage requirements.
And we did receive the wage information from Ranieri, but we just received that yesterday afternoon. We were told that their payroll person was on vacation until
Yeah.
yesterday.
It's summer.
Yeah.
It's summer. By the way, there are two items in your packet, but we are only going to discuss item 4. Item 5, the lease, we will delay until our next meeting because Patrick's going to have further discussions with the landlord. And this is the lease
And with our
for
attorney, yeah.
6,900, our temporary building. So you see in front of you item 4, which is the budget amendments to close out the past fiscal year. Aaron.
The Budget and Finance Committee met and we recommend approving the final amendments through August the 10th of 2022 that you see in front of you, and the yellow highlights the changes that are significant. So
Hey,
Does anyone
Patrick,
have
can
any-
you Yeah, Patrick, can you scroll back up one and show me the one that was related to workman's comp claims? I didn't catch the number. It didn't seem like it was that high.
It was actually lower than
Than originally.
workers' comp is 2230, excuse me, that just jumped. Sorry. Boom, 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 boom. Workers' compensation is 2230.
Okay.
And then there was one other line in there, and that
Yeah, there was another line where it was 17.
yes, injury leave.
Oh, here, related to workers' comp claims, 1678, injury leave.
Yes, that's when someone is actually out on workers' comp and, you know, I might not be the one to explain it totally well, but we pay a portion of the salary and then a portion comes
Got
from the insurance company.
Okay, got it.
So
Okay.
even though there was nothing budgeted for that,
Mhm.
because the workers' comp line was under budget, we're still under budget because we budgeted
Mhm.
$5,000 for the workers' comp.
Right.
So we're still under budget on that issue.
Right. It just caught my eye because it seemed odd to me that would be a separate line item from normal workers' comp claim. So I mean, and
It was
nothing
the
really.
first time in a while we've had we've had a really unlucky year with workers' comp accidents, work related accidents this year. And we'll be having you know, some training about that, just about working in the workplace.
Don't you think being in a different facility has something to do with that, though?
I do, and it's not the most accessible building. We've had a couple problems, you know, it just things with like the sidewalks and stuff. And then both staff and patrons falling at the door of 6,900. We've just installed, we spent $1,000 and got a second ramp and put that out there so that there's handrails and a ramp for people. But
And I see people avoiding the ramp when they.
I have two, but I, you know, talked to a couple of people who said they really need the handrail there, so.
Okay.
And we did have 3 patrons and 1 staff member fall coming out the door
Before the ramp.
before the ramp, yeah.
Oh, dear.
First day that we had it up, that they had just like endless comments, like thanking. I've actively seen people thanking the staff and then they avoid the ramp. But I think just with respect to having it there for accessibility.
Patrick, it was a little hard to read. Was there any major, you know, on the one I got that was a little small, but I couldn't see any things that looked like there were major differences in the budget.
The biggest one was, you know, just of course, the way the timing of the project where, you know, we spent the 823,000 on building improvements and didn't spend the debt service principal and interest, you know, because with the financing came later in the year. So we paid, well, luckily we had the money in the budget for it and we're able to pay out of the funds on hand.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would have anticipated that we would have spent a few other lines more, but you know, because things are a little slower and we're still a little COVID-y, you know, we were able to pay it from the money collected this year and didn't even go into the reserves yet for the building project, which was a little unusual.
And would you go to the very bottom line where it says revenue totals?
Oops, that is not right.
Okay, I mean, that looked a little interesting to me.
Yeah, that's just added the 280.
It added the two
What's
lines
a
above.
formula?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So you just need to
Yeah.
get rid of that, the second 2871 in your
Yeah,
formula.
there's just two of the same thing that looked a little
Right.
Just
unusual.
double that. So
Yep.
we would take
Yeah, it
that
took
one
the
out.
expense totals and added them together, so.
Yeah, so the revenue totals are still a little short of what they were expected, but even with the
Yes.
2.8 million, but it's not a lot more than we thought.
That would be.
Okay, well, that's right.
That looks a little
That's
better.
right at the right. That's right where you would expect
Yeah,
them.
that looks better.
So
Are
that
there any other?
It looked like we had a great surplus. That's all.
Yeah. No, that would be not.
And we know that's not true.
But we were under on expenses, so.
Yeah.
Are there any
I will
other?
make a motion to accept this budget unless there's something somebody else sees that they want to pull out and talk about.
I would second it with this change.
A motion
Yeah,
is
right.
Thank you, Gerald.
A motion has been made and seconded to adopt the budget amendments, the final amendments, as of 8/10/22. Is there any additional discussion?
I would just like to say thank you to whoever compiled this document. Obviously, it took a lot of time and effort.
Indeed. Cindy, would you call the roll?
Mark Barnes,
Aye.
Kim Dietzler,
Aye.
Erin Ginsburg,
Aye.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Aye.
Gerald Lander,
Aye.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Kathleen Simpson,
Aye.
and Cindy Zerwas, aye.
The
Well, Cindy,
motion is
you-
carried.
You were probably talking about the CFO, right, that we have on board.
CFO, well, and the controller, Jerry, and the assistant controller,
You're right, right.
and the entire accounting staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have tabled item 6 for our next meeting, which brings up our next meeting. We need to have an additional meeting in September because our usual September meeting, which is on the 28th, and that stays the 28th of September, we have to wait for some funding issues to come through. But because of the construction and some change orders and the discussion of the lease, we need to have a meeting on September 14th at the usual time. And we will also have finance, budget and finance committee and at 4:30 and building and grounds at 4 o'clock. So Patrick will send out information on that, but you might want to just put a note on your calendar now that you have to spend extra time with us on the 14th of
I
September.
really
And
appreciate it.
the regular meeting, Helen, was when?
The 28th of September.
Thank you.
And then Cindy and I will send out the updated board roster with the committee assignments. I apologize for not getting that out before.
Can I
It's
just
because you
ask,
have so much going on.
Patrick, can I just ask whatever transpired with the electricity in the regular library?
Yeah, so Amarin came out on Monday, I believe, and turned the power off completely. Apparently what happened was the back area through the staff door, the water rose high enough in that garden area to apparently the conduit comes out about 4 to 6 inches out of the ground into the transformer. When the water rose above that level, it went down into the conduit, through into the panel and fried the entire panel out. It's completely useless. We've got a claim in with the insurance agency through the city, but since the city lost many vehicles and it damaged to many vehicles, I think we're to buildings rather. I think we're near the bottom of the list. I'll check with the city again to see. There were supposed to be some insurance adjusters out yesterday and perhaps today, and I'll see if anything came of that.
Okay.
But we're hopeful that some of that will get paid. That will get paid for. We're waiting to hear. So Ranieri, DNR Electrical, and Amarin are working together to get a new panel up, a temporary pole, temporary panel, and they have the Amarin run power to that.
So how are they working in the building?
They're we'll also have a change order that we'll have to pay for on that. They're renting generators and running everything off of generators right now.
Patrick, that reminds me of a question Cindy had brought up, which was the leaking windows. Is that impacting the progress of the project?
Not at all. Ranieri indicated that won't be a problem until they start working on the finishing. You know, when they start getting ready to put the baseboards in and the carpeting in, and you know, some of the drywall. We'd want to have it finished before then. So we'll sort of reach back out to Bond to have them reach back out to our former contractor, RG Ross, and see if we can get them out to fix some of this. There's just a couple of spots where it's bad enough that it's going to be we won't want to do any work till it's done. But there's a couple other places where it's still a problem that we shouldn't be facing with brand new windows and a recently sealed building.
No. I have a question, Patrick. With some of these changes from the storm damage, et cetera, has our completion date for the project changed?
They haven't given us any sort of estimate with the, having to sort of change the way they're working and working with the generators. We haven't heard anything about that affecting the timetable yet. A couple of the change orders do add some time to it, but they haven't changed the date yet from March. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get, if that didn't come up later, if there wasn't a change of date. But as of now, they said today that they're still looking at a March date for completion.
Okay. So having the lease run until the end of May probably won't be a problem in case there's other.
It might not be, but Helen had pointed out we should ask for a terminating early clause in there.
Yeah.
Is
Sounds
there any other discussion?
Let me just ask, how long will it, if it really got finished in March, how long will it take to get everything back in it and be up and running? People have just asked me that.
Yeah, our idea would be to start moving in before then, and we've talked with Ranieri about that, to start, building the shelves up in the spaces that they're finished with, where we can without interfering, and start getting things moved over from UUM to there, and then move the last stuff over. So hopefully it would just be a matter of, we'll have to talk this over with the movers too. But my hope would be that we could do something like we did before, where we just close for a few days, get the final stuff over there,
Gotcha.
so that we can operate out of that building, even if we're not completely 100% moved in.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to second that.